Hi, in this video we are going to look at how to do basic metadata editing inside the desktop visual asset browser. To do this, you would go to the asset browser metadata panel. The topics that we will cover include how to edit metadata on a file after it has been ingested, how to display custom metadata fields in the asset browser views, how to perform in-place metadata editing from within the asset view. In order to edit metadata after you have ingested assets, on the desktop you can open up the Zoom asset browser by going to the Z menu icon on Mac or Windows and clicking on asset browser. If you have the asset browser already pinned on the dock, then you can always open it up from your dock or your window menu. Once the asset browser is launched, open up a view by clicking on either browse or search, and then head over to the metadata panel. You will see this button called metadata. If you click on it, it will bring you a detailed view of metadata associated with the files. So for example, for this particular file, this is a Photoshop file, we have quite a few metadata fields that are filled in. You can use the metadata panel to navigate through lots of metadata quickly by collapsing all the fields, and then you can go and open any specific field. So if I do this, I'm opening up the file properties group, and then I have access to a specific field like resolution. If I wanted to open up all the metadata groups, you can just toggle this again, and it will show you every single field across every single group. So we have several groups here: editorial information, workflow, spots metadata, file properties, and so on and so forth. These would be set up by your media manager. The order in which these metadata groups will show up will also be controlled by the schema that your media manager has set up. So now let's take a look at how to edit the metadata for a specific file. So let's say I wanted to change the contact here from Brian to Sid. So I come in here and edit that, and that's it. That changes the value to Sid. If I wanted to change the category from series to perhaps special, all I have to do is click on special, and that will change the category to special. And you must click outside in order for the value to take effect. So you can use this to edit any metadata in the system. If there were like date-based field, it'll bring up a date-based picker, and you can use that to change the date. But don't forget to click outside in order for the metadata to be saved. So that is how easy it is to edit the metadata using this metadata panel. Now, if you were looking for a specific field that you wanted to change, and there were lots of fields, you can always start typing in here. So say I don't remember which field I had set the value Twitter to. I just type twit, and it'll bring up the field and the value contains Twitter. And then I can go in and change this to whatever I like. Same thing with a field name. So if I don't remember which specific field to click, or there are tons of fields in here, I can just type in status, and it brings me all the fields or values that match status. And then I can come in here and change the value. So that is how you use the metadata editor to edit. Now, you can also use this beaker icon to show empty field or fields that have values. So when you click this, the beaker turns on with the yellow icon. That shows you all the fields, including the fields that do not have any value, like offer or product or market doesn't have any value. If you toggle the beaker icon again, it'll hide all the empty metadata values. That's how easy it is to find all the fields that contain value. Now there's another way of easily editing metadata, and that is by using the metadata fields that are displayed in the panel itself, in the central panel. So let's hide the metadata panel. So for example, I see this brand field Evolfin with Evolfin now. If I wanted to edit this, I can just click in here, and that enables the in-place metadata editor. And then I can come in and change the brand value. So it changes to Zoom Tonight. If I wanted to change the rating of this asset, I can come in here and change the rating. So you can see that I'm able to edit this by manipulating it in the cell. But how do I get these metadata fields to show up? Now that is controlled using the settings for the user, and there are different settings based on the view that you are in. Let's hide this to see this in better detail. So this is the grid view. If I click on the list view, then it shows me the metadata like author, asset ID, file size, duration, description. These are metadata based columns. And if I switch this to portfolio view, I will see a different set of asset metadata columns. So for each of these assets, I can see the metadata as I swing through this. So how do I control this? This can be done using the settings in here. So go to the icon where you are logged in and then click settings and then head over to the metadata settings. And this allows you to choose what is it that you want to depict in these specific views. So right now you can have two different settings for the grid view in the main panel or for the list and portfolio view. So say for the grid view, I also wanted to show the title. So I can just start typing in title and it brings up all the possible titles. So say I wanted to use the IPTC information title. So I just click here. Now this gets added into my view. And let's say for the portfolio view, I want to show the rating as well. So I just type in here and then that narrows the field to 2 ratings. I select that. So I have added rating here and title here. And if you wanted to get rid of something, you just have to press the X to dismiss it. So if I didn't want to show rating in here, I can just click X. And now I have asset ID, brand, and title. So I could go ahead and hit save. Once I do that, the columns will change and I can begin to see, for example, ratings in here. And if I switch back to the grid view, ratings should have disappeared. And indeed it has. And I can now begin to see the title. So if I wanted to add a new title to this, I can just type in here and I can say morning animation and hit enter and the value basically changes. So that is how you use in-place editor for metadata.